ago, I was shopping for sheets in Marks and Spencer's, and I got a phone call from an actress friend of mine asking me whether I would be interested in hosting an event for Gatwick detainees welfare group. They were jump-starting a project called the Refugee Tales. I had never heard of Gatwick detainees welfare group. I knew nothing about indefinite detention, but I agreed to host the event, and it was a moment that was both inspiring and humbling. So today we are celebrating 10 years of Refugee Tales. And 30 years of Gatwick Detainees Welfare Group. And because this is a celebration, I'm not going to go on about the fact that Britain is the only country in Western Europe that is still practicing indefinite detention. I'm not going to go on about the fact that it is inhumane to incarcerate people who have fled war, torture, famine, and to treat them with hostility and suspicion, nor am I going to go on about the fact that there is huge psychological damage from being given a prison sentence when you're not a criminal and not knowing how long that sentence is going to last, nor the fear of being rearrested and sent back into a detention centre, nor am I going to talk about the fact that you are living in a hellish limbo of not knowing of whether you will ever have a life worth living. No, I'm not going to talk about that at all. What I am going to do is to remind us why we celebrate what you all did for the past 5 days. The news, with all its coverage of corrupt leaders and unjust wars, can make you think that there is no hope. But looking around this room of smiling faces is an antidote to the racism, the xenophobia, the self-interest that is in danger of infecting our collective humanity. So we're really celebrating Gatwick Detainees Welfare Group. I want to celebrate Anna and David and everybody who works with them. I want to celebrate all the volunteers, some of whom for 30 years have been visiting detainees and giving them friendship and support and hope. I want to celebrate the writers who have written so movingly of the tales that they've been told. I want to celebrate the musicians, the poets, the artists, the cooks, the lawyers, the homemakers who have made people welcome and given them respite for a very brief time. I want to celebrate Refugee Tales and walking and talking. I want to celebrate the power of telling a story, the power that it gives us, the way it enables us to step into someone else's shoes and have empathy and compassion. And most of all, I want to celebrate the detainees whose indomitable spirits have triumphed against adversity. I want to celebrate the best of us. So here's to us. So first up is Raja, who is going to read a poem by Clint, who can't be here today, but who is someone who is writing from lived experience. Raja.
Congratulations on 5 days walk. We got here. Happy birthday, Gatwick Detainee Visitor Groups. Happy birthday, Refugee teams. Might we be triumphant in this year before the next year and see what we are working towards being achieved. This is a poem which I just saw really not long ago, written by Clint, who worked with us and unfortunately he couldn't be with us today. So for Clint, if you are hearing this now, I hope I will do your poem justice. As we walk, the sun blazing. As we walk, some stopping, some resting on some walk, carrying nymph smiling. As we walk, hopes and dreams we carry. As we walk, feel the needs on this long road making change. As we walk, we have energy. As we walk, we're not going to stop. The bushing, the breathing, as we walk, have that impact. Thanks to all of you. That's clear.
Yes, Seth and I have been walking for 10 years. And we probably met on the first day of the first walk 10 years ago. And I've been trying to think a lot about walking and what walking means while we've been moving through the countryside or through the suburbs of London this past week. And I'm thinking of a French philosopher who wrote a book called The Philosophy of Walking. This is when I remember to put my glasses on. Which starts with the wonderful line that walking is dull, repetitive, and monotonous. Well, I don't know about that. Later on, he says, though, that the aim of this exercise and repetition is to achieve a state of concentration. And I kind of love that. We get into this rhythm and this focus as we walk along, and we begin to concentrate. Even though talking with someone this week, I said, the nature of Refugee Tales is a little ADHD. You're constantly interrupted, just turning and talking to someone else. But Seth, I can remember meeting you that first year, and I think I was intimidated by you. You seemed very serious and smart, and you were walking with sticks maybe that first year too.
Yes.
But what do you remember about that first year and your first impressions of walking?
Hi, my name is Seth, as mentioned. In fact, when I heard about this walking project, I thought about it and I asked questions. What can this walking project mean about the whole project? Walking not in town, but in the suburb of towns. So I did not understand it first, but as we start to walk the first day, when I saw people who have understanding of this walk, I was impressed. I was filled with, I asked questions, I asked Anna when she contacted me that this is the project and he explained it to me. My question I asked was, how can this thing go? How can people hear about it? We are not like in other way, people demonstrate, shout, placards, but we did it very calmly. And I saw that now it's just like a wildfire going everywhere. People have understood, people get the message. So the first day of the walk, really, I was not very sure what we can achieve. But up to today, 10 years, I have seen that we have achieved a lot, and we are going to achieve more.
Exactly. I think that deserves a bit of applause. I said you seemed like a really serious person to me when I first met you, and I found that a little bit intimidating, but I've since learned you've got quite a sense of humor. There was a great reminder of it this week when we were walking by the beaver dams or whatever it was there in Ealing, and someone we were walking with, I can't remember who, was explaining the wondrous things that beavers did, and Seth just went, they're contractors. That's one of many times you've just had the right thing to say at the right moment. Who was it? I think it was Gordon earlier today talked about being a waiting person. And you know, when I first met you, Seth, you were waiting, and in a sense. And over the course of our 10 years of walking, you've since gained your status, your leave to remain. Not too long ago, actually. And I feel like I could see the change in you, the sense of possibilities opening up, future opening up. You spoke about that a bit this morning too, but can you just talk a little bit about that sense of those 10 years and while we're walking, you were walking towards something that you've now achieved, and you're on your way to something.
Yes, thank you. You know, the first time we were walking, really, I was not myself. When I came out from detention, 17 months, I was in detention. Why am I there? I don't know. And when I came out, there's no smile in my face at all. Because I was confused, traumatized, stressed. Sometimes even when we are walking, they want to take pictures. I tell them I don't want my face in the picture, because really, in reality, my sense of my brain was not working well. I don't think straight. Things were really in my mind. So that time, until people talk to me, sometimes I isolate myself when we are walking, when we come and sit down, I isolate myself, just thinking about really where am I going to. So that was the time my attitude, my heart was not really sweet at all, because even that time I've not get my status, but I don't know where I am going to. That's why you see my action or my countenance at that time. That's how it was, because I don't understand myself at all that time.
Yeah. We've heard your voice bloom too, right? And you've become such an important spokesperson, and soon to be a trustee, I think, too, of the GDWG. Right. And that's fabulous, and I've told you before, I admire you as an orator. Your voice is beautiful to listen to, and you know how to address and hold an audience, and that's an incredible thing. Have the walks been sustaining for you? Would you describe them that way? Like, how has that been, knowing every year July's coming, and back we're going to come and get sore feet and have sleepless nights? It's very attractive, isn't it?
Yes. Do you know one thing I gain in walking with you? It's a therapy to my mind, to the brain. It was a therapy. Anytime I come together to walk, I forget about in home office or whatever. I forget about it. I just feel some joy in me. So I said it's a therapy to my brain. It healed me completely. So when I'm walking with you, there's joy. Even this evening, I'm saying it. I say, I'm going back again. Oh, God, I'm going back again. Look how I was happy when I come here. As if I don't have anything worrying me. You see? So when I walk with you, the stories we share, I mean, they smile, we eat together, we sleep on the floor together. I feel very, very impressed. I feel very, very healed in my heart and in my mind. So walking with you for 10 years, that make me going up steady, and up to now, I stand to walk with you. So it is a healing into my life, really.
Fabulous. Well, I would always also have to say that walking with you is very sustaining, Seth. I look forward to it every year. Do you think we can do this for 10 more years? We're going to do 10 more years of walks? I hope we don't have to, but we might do it anyway, no matter what's going on, just because it's too fun.
Do you know, when we start walking, really, we thought, oh, by walking 1 year, we'll achieve what we want. That was our mind, even my mind. Oh, Parliament will change it, the laws or the lawmakers will change it. 2 years, I asked myself the same question. Where are we going? These people cannot listen to us. So we walk. You see, we are walking 10 years now. We have achieved. I want also to say that we have achieved some things which is underground, which help people from detention, which help people who are out from detention, which help people who are part of this movement. We have achieved a lot. But our main target is the 28 days limit, or what we call indefinite detention, to be abolished completely. We are still striving together. So I'm sure if it's not 10 years, next year we will achieve that.
I think that's probably a fabulous note to end our little conversation on. And please join me in thanking Seth, thanking all of you who have walked up with us all these years. There are many people who have walked 10 years in this room. There are people who have walked 9 years, 8 years, 5 years, 4 years, 2 years, 1 year. This is the first year. We really appreciate all of you being with us. And indeed, as Pius says, as Seth says, as many of us say over and over again, we will keep doing this until we achieve this.
For sure.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now, Patience Agbabi, I met Patience 10 years ago. In fact, we had a train journey back from Canterbury, I think, together. And Patience is a poet, a performer, a mentor, a novelist. She was born in London to Nigerian parents, and she studied English at Oxford University. She has published 4 collections of poetry, and her, I don't know how you say this, poetry novels, Wonderland, is going to be published in 2026 by Firefly Press. So as well as buying all the Refugee Tales anthologies, you're going to have to buy hers as well. Anyway, she's going to get up and read us The Refugee's Tale.
Hello, can you hear me? You might need to come up a little bit. Yeah. Okay, I just have to say, I'm really sorry I didn't walk with you today, because walking with you is such a wonderful joy, and to hear Seth talk about walking was incredibly moving. But I will say that the middle panel on the left, that's me and my family walking. That's evidence that I have actually done the walk. So this piece is set in Sudan, and it's in the voice of a middle-aged woman of Egyptian heritage. I name her Farida in the poem, but Farida is not her real name because she needed to conceal her identity because she was quite well known in her country. I also mention her job and her children, and again I've started to camouflage some of that in order to protect her. 2 things that you might need to know. I mentioned the Copts, which is short for the Christians of the Orthodox Coptic Church of Egypt, which is also prevalent in Sudan and Libya. And the other thing I mentioned is the Nuba, who you'll probably know are the indigenous people of the Nuba Mountains in southern Sudan. This is the Refugee's Tale. Maybe the real story begins here, in this office. Before you press record and we look in the mirror of each other's eyes, we're first time meeting. Maybe you say the word refugee in your head when you call me Farida. Refugee, what is that burn mark on your hand? You already have a story of the torture I suffered in my war-torn homeland. But these marks are from cooking bread for my family. This is the first time I'm cooking in my life. I never even made a cup of tea back home. I make a very good falafel. You must try. Are you recording? Food of the homestead. Christians, Muslims, we bake the same flatbread. Christians and Muslims break the same bread before the change. Though my parents are Egyptian, I am born in Sudan. Sudan is in my blood. Though I am always a Christian, even for 10 years I love Muslims more than Christians. My Muslim neighbours care for my parents when we jet set to Paris or Rome. I love Muslims as I love the Nuba, love my country. We Copts, always first class. We had good English, all of us working in the banks. Cleaner to driver, everyone is close to Farida. No door that is not wide open, thanks to God. Since I leave university mid-year, and that day I start my career. The day I started my banking career, my parents complained, but they couldn't control me. Back then was good atmosphere. I am making good money. My husband is running his business in patents. We build a large family house. We have 6 children. And some flats in Egypt for the pensions of our parents. Always we are donating to the poor, the brethren. Then government changes. Doors begin to close. At work, what took 2 hours now takes 2 weeks. And Christians are flocking overnight to the US. Then, the rumour of a banking leak. Watching the planes flying over my head, I refused to leave my country, my homestead. I refused. I love my country, my homestead, my mother, my father, my husband's father and mother, the motherland. I'd rather be buried dead than leave. I was the last one to leave. My brother-in-law, he's unwell. He needed support to heal his divided mind. We nurture him like a plant and polish each leaf, each flower to help seal him together. Like the two faiths that can't be divided by politicians completely corrupted, splitting the country like an open wound. They insert a lie unless Christians abducted. I refused to cover my hair, but my heart was divided by language, river, boundary, country, the day I retreated my status to refugee. Why should I be treated as a stranger, a refugee in the country I was born, barricaded in my bank, while demonstrators outside shout blasphemy, hundreds, thousands fed on propaganda poison? We're told, remain calm, stay here, you have food. But my phone buzzed like a dying insect. My husband, my children, my parents pleading with God. I remembered the side door, the back exit, where the generator hummed in the dark. And I find myself descending the iron stairs, the noise of the crowd out front like a bull shark, and somehow my legs find the car, my hands on the gears, and my friend is closing the door, imagining the crowbar fist of the crowd pounding on my car. The fist-headed crowd are pounding on my car. My car is not moving. Each fist has a face that looks like my own. How can we be at war when the Nile flows through our twin faiths? If my car is my coffin, the fist of the clods of earth, the rich yellow soil of my country, I start the engine praying, dear God, let it not stall. But my car is the black and the steel of a bulletproof jacket. Today it will save my life. With my hands on the steering wheel and my life in the hand of God, it begins to move. And the waving fists part like the Red Sea. I still think it's a miracle I find myself free. It's a miracle I'm still having a job, but my mind is not free. Each day government is ringing back for bank information that I am not having. They don't believe me. More doors are closed in my face with no explanation. Maybe somewhere there's a typed memo. On a blank piece of paper, someone has printed my name. Someone is watching my house, how I don't know. Anger is a gloved hand and a flickering flame. That night, the family is sleeping on the second floor, except my oldest son and daughter coming back from Coptic club. They open the side door, and all they are smelling is smoke. Someone broke into our life, their hand through our window bars that night to smother the moon and stars. The night smoke choked the moon and the stars. I tried to call the fire. I tried to call them hundreds of times. If it wasn't for our neighbours hearing us shouting, my neighbours came and there was water. I shouted like crazy, please, please help us at this address. And nobody came. Like they arranged it maybe. The fire brigade not to come and we all perish. My husband insisted to break the room and go inside, and the flames, I was so worried about him. But my neighbours, all my family survived. We prayed there together, Christian and Muslim. In the heat of the fire we knelt on the earth and wept. I thought I'd forget, but their love I'll never forget. I thought I'd forget in this life, but I never forget the 3 hours it took for the fire engine to arrive felt like 3 days. There is no regret. We were lucky to be alive. But how can you sleep then, knowing the country you love wants you to die? How can you close your eyes shut when they've been pitted like an olive? I'm praying to God every night, but then after that, they started with my husband. He was away with his business abroad. They arrested him at customs, coming back to our country, his papers ignored. He sensed something badward, had a premonition. The day they imprisoned my husband, he had not eaten. They put my husband in prison. He is not eating the right foods. They knew he was diabetic, but they're starving him of insulin. Wouldn't let me give his medicine. I was frantic. Didn't know where he was based. Didn't know what they can do to him to get me. And finally I decided there was no way I could not resist. That's when I decided to leave my beloved country. They said, you should be grateful we left you in peace. This is a Muslim country, but we let you pray in your churches. Cooperate for your husband's release. I know nothing of that bank information to this day. Always I'm wearing my cross and refuse to sweat in the heavy blackened steel of my bulletproof jacket. The heavy blackened steel of a bulletproof jacket is the depression I wear on the worst days, when freedom here weighs heavier than the death threat back home and my family fall on their knees. But back home I refused. Why should Farida wear widow's black when there is still hope for my husband to bend the bars on his prison windows? Always there's light on the horizon. I knew a Muslim high official, a friend of my husband. Farida, trust me, we have a plan. So I'm buying us tickets to London, even then thinking we can come back when things cool down. The day of his release, I'm barely breathing. Meeting him at the airport, the sky is bleeding. When I met him at the airport, he was bleeding. His chest was full of blood, and he had ulcerative colitis. He is needing urgent medical, very sick. He bled onto the flight and is sleeping very peaceful, and the whole of my family is here and safe. As soon as we land, we take him to hospital and they save his life. An international visa is an open door, but the next day we go to Croydon to claim asylum, and though the lady is very kind, it pains me more than everything to cut myself from my home, my country, with each section of my claim, my story, depressed photo in a frame. The story depends where you put the frame. With my oldest son, my oldest daughter, each in a separate room, but exactly the same questions. Each the author of a story they will match. to see if the grief fits together the jigsaw of what it is to love your country and be forced to leave your whole life behind in broken images. For me, it was lucky. Maybe God knows how much I suffered. Maybe it was easy to check my job, my contacts. Maybe the fictions in the newspapers were detained by the facts. Now I'm underclass, my head covered with shame. How am I begging when I can't remember my name? How can I begin to remember my name when I can't leave the house? When the ache of leaving my mother, she died. The blame is too much. My whole body drowned with grieving in this room with a ribbed roof where I sit with my sins heavy as Jonah. This silent attic where memories play back like the cries of muezzins mixed with the cries from the priest when she first fell sick. But good people come, who open me to feel again for others. And as I translate the words of a refugee life to a form, I begin to heal. Their voice is my own voice, striking a chord. May our truth conquer fear. Maybe the real story begins here. Maybe the real story begins here, when Christians and Muslims broke the same flatbread. The day I started my banking career and refused to leave my country, my homestead. Maybe the day I retreated my status to refugee. Or the fist-headed crowd pounding on my car, and the miracle when I find myself free. The night, the smoke choked the moon and stars. I thought I forget, but some things you never forget. The day they imprisoned my husband, he is not eating. The heavy blackened steel of my bulletproof jacket when I met him at the airport, broken, bleeding. The story ends where you put the frame. But however it begins, remember my name.
Thank you so much, Patience, for your beautiful reading. By the way, it's a novel in verse, is what I was looking for. Her book, Wonderland, which is coming out in 2026. Before we finish, I have a few thank yous, obviously to Patience, to Raga, to the Metronomes, and of course to Stephen and Steph for their wonderful chat. And I would also like to thank, I hope you'll forgive the way I say your name, Councillor Shuila Saida. I learn, but thank you so much for coming. That means an awful lot to me. And really, thank you all for the walks you've done. Incredible. I did half a walk today and I'm exhausted. I also just wanted to remind us of our call for change. 5 points. 1, implementation of the Brooke House Public Inquiry recommendation. 2, a 28-day time limit on immigration detention so that no one is held indefinitely. 3, the right to work for anybody whose case for asylum takes longer than 6 months. 4, access to high-quality interpreter and translation services for everyone in immigration detention. And 5, an approach to asylum grounded not in hostility, but in the fundamental principles of human rights. And that's really what Refugee Tale and Gatwick Detainees Welfare Group is about. I hope that in 10 years' time we won't be still campaigning for our call for change. But I do believe that we will still be walking and talking and connecting, because you're a tremendous bunch of people. I feel honoured to be among you. I feel so glad that I made this connection with you. So thank you very much. And here's to the metronome. What to say, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet, is that anyone who isn't a friend of Gatwick Detainees Welfare Group, now's your chance. So I think you can sign up at the back of the room. You can also, I'm sure, oh no, at the side of the room. And there are copies of the collections of refugee tales for you to buy. They make great presents. I've given them for Christmas and birthday to loads of people. So thank you. I forgot that one.